Okay, we are back with Damian and Norman. Hi Norman. Hi
Hello.
Damian.
Hello.
Yeah. So welcome Damian to our after talk. So it's really good that you make some time for us. And so
Um,
yeah, for those who don't know you, can you like introduce yourself a little bit?
sure, I can. Thank you for having me. I hope everyone has enjoyed the talk that was before, since this is the after talk. Although we'll be still talking, so that's kind of still works.
It's
So
clever
I'm Damien.
pun, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Vue.js core team member, mostly working on the newsletter, which you should receive today. And I also did some open source libraries, which you might also know. Those are Vue Multiselect, Vue Validate, and Vue Global Events. And from time to time, I'm contributing to things like the Vue Docs, which yeah, and yeah, that's mostly me.
Yep.
Um,
Cool. So how you doing in these days?
oh well, pretty okay. Although I think the pandemic had a toll on my productivity, and I guess I'm not the only one uh, that has experiences. And I guess it's mostly visible by the decrease when it comes to the frequency, how uh, how often the newsletter is being sent.
Hmm.
So it used to be every week, but yeah, with all that's been happening, uh, it went to like every 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and at some point it was like there was a 3 week break,
Yeah.
which I'm not really proud of, but yeah.
I mean it's fine. It's like these times are not like I mean except the pandemic like there is like nothing else then is the view free out yet? And that's the
Yeah,
only questions.
Ah,
So
yeah, but
like yeah.
but but right now we actually do have some like news. Well, which many of you might have already seen if you been following Twitter. Um, the RFC has been released, so we are very close to the official
Yeah.
release. And you can also read the beta docs for the Vue 3, and there are also a new beta version of the DevTools to
Hmm.
work with Vue 3. So yeah,
Yep.
that's a huge improvement given that we still need to finish Vue Validate for version 3, and I imagine having the beta DevTools uh, like being very helpful
Yeah.
with like preparing for the new version.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, I have like
Jiří, may I interrupt? Did you
yes.
start already translating the Vue 3 documentation
You
to
started
Czech?
me?
Did you start? I thought about starting the translation for the German language, but I couldn't yet. But I will these days start.
Yeah, I mean it's a good idea, but right now I'm really kind of busy and I'm
Tell me about
yeah, but yeah.
it.
I mean it would be nice, but maybe in the next couple months if I will have some time. So, yeah.
I
Um
imagine right now that the docs will still change a bit,
mm,
probably like
yeah.
given like community feedback and so on. Like it's hard to predict like whether everything works. Like we've been reviewing them, but you know, like if many people struggle with parts of it, then we might have to make some changes, or maybe there will be some great ideas that we should incorporate to make it even better. So like translating right now might be just like asking for, okay, I need to retranslate this part, or like potentially some work that would be just thrown away like in a month or two, right?
Yeah. 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 I had actually one question. I mean, I have more questions, but
Okay.
um, one of the question is how did you get to doing the Vue.js newsletter?
So It was the newsletter was started by me and Christoph, a friend of mine back in Montreal. So we figured like, hey, because we already started like, using Vue, and we were like, is there like any Vue newsletter out there? And we figured there wasn't. It was, I think, 2017. Can't remember. We'll have to see the first issue
Mm.
for that to get the exact date. And so we figured like, yeah, why not? Let's do that. And at some point, the Vue.js Twitter account, so Evan, saw it and gave us a retweet. And then we had those, like Instagram celebrity effect,
Mm.
where we just had more emails that like people sign up for it than we could handle. So it kind of killed the inbox, and we had just to like remove the email that, hey, somebody subscribed to your newsletter. So oh yeah, it was started actually in, oh my god, yesterday would be the 4th anniversary. So it was in actually July 20th,
Yeah,
2016.
that's
And the
nice.
first
Oh, wow.
newsletter, I'm not sure to how many people it went to. Let me,
Wow,
okay,
that's
can I get to the last page here?
I feel like checking how long the Vue.js Berlin meetup is.
Oh yeah, so the first one went to 759 people.
yeah.
And I think it was like a few days after it was announced that, hey, there is a newsletter sign up. So yeah, that was pretty huge for us. And after that, and this was just a Vue newsletter because I wasn't part of the core team or
Mm.
anything. Like I was, yeah, Vue was still pretty small. I mean, it was gaining a lot of traction, but it was still small, like 2016, right?
Mm.
So
Oh,
who was using Vue in 2016? I guess I did. You probably also.
I'm
I
not.
probably
Uh,
tried it already back then, but now it's
yeah,
already
so,
in
so
June.
it was pretty small compared to what it is right now. And once I got to the core team, we had this idea that maybe we could, along with the Vue mastery guys that wanted to do the podcast, we figured maybe we could do like an official Vue.js news service, which included the podcast and the newsletter. And so then it became the official Vue.js newsletter.
Mm.
But since then, after like 100 of or so, maybe less than 100, like I guess like 50 something podcasts, we stopped doing podcasts, and it was just back just to the newsletter and the news website, which is
Yeah.
news.vuejs.org.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like the doing it every 2 weeks is probably pretty good because then there is more interesting content to pick from. Where like forcing it to do it like every week was a stretch,
Yeah.
especially when there isn't anything like super interesting happening.
Yeah. 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 I know that. I really like admire your like what's what's the word for it, like like that you are keep doing it every 2 weeks or every week. So it's really, we tried to, right, Norman, and with our
Tried.
with our Vue.js Berlin newsletter, and it's really hard to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is, I would say it's getting a bit boring
Mm.
to whenever like when you see the submissions and like half of it is basically what's in the docs already, or
Mm.
like getting started with Vue and so on, with like content that isn't any original, but you still want to like give it a try, see whether there is something that like shows like a new angle or something like this. So there is a lot of stuff that you have to read,
Mm.
which you might not be interested in. because it's already something that like you've seen or so. So yeah, that's the and then just the work where you just need to put it together, write down summaries and so on. So that's the mechanical work.
Yep.
So yeah, I totally get it. Like sometimes it's just like, oh my god, I have to do the newsletter.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's but it's fun. It's fun when you can send some interesting things, like when there's something really like new, fresh. Like last 2 weeks ago, there was the Vue Demi library, which allows you to, by Anthony Fu, which allows you to, if you're building a new a library that is targeting Vue 3, but you also want to be backwards compatible with Vue 2, it literally allows you to, instead of importing the like composition API methods from Vue or from Vue composition API plugin, you can just import it from Vue Demi, and when it's being installed somewhere, like, and you just publish it, and it's one of the dependencies, but it's like super lightweight because it's just kind of like a proxy. So when it is being installed in a project like in Vue 2 or Vue 3, depending what environment, like whether Vue 3 is available, then it's gonna just proxy all the imports to Vue. And if it's in a Vue 2 application, it's gonna proxy all of those imports to the composition API plugin. So yeah, you could technically be able to release like a compatibility, or well, just any version of a library that is both supports Vue 3 and Vue 2. I mean, it won't work for everything, like components that are using some of the like, well, templates and like render functions. But if it's something like Validate, which is only for it only cares about the well, the data, then it should be possible. And been trying with it, like trying to make it work last week, but as in last weekend, but there were some, I guess, minor inconsistencies between Vue 3 and the composition API plugin. So there is a roadblock here. I mean, I made it work, but I had to change some things to accommodate for that. So that's not really good, especially since we don't really have tests for it, as in for Validate.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I saw that you, I mean, like you also working as a tech lead in a Coursedog, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's your full-time job or?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And remote job, I guess. It's a yeah.
Yep. Everyone is remote. But we were thinking about getting an office, like a co-working space or something similar. But yeah, then the pandemic came, and yeah, it's all on hold for. But I guess everyone just got used to working remotely. So
yeah. I mean, we have to. So yeah, and actually, what is like Coursedog? What they are doing? What you are doing there?
Oh, so we are building a platform. We are offering several products for higher education schools, like universities in the United States, and also some outside of the United States, but that use, let's say, the same like system for like education system, or like a very similar one. And what it does, like the main product is Scheduler, which allows you to like get data from a student information system or somewhere else, where you get the information like what courses do you have, what like your instructors, professors, and like rooms, capacity, like any like equipment, and so on and so on. And then you just draw the like requirements for a course. What are the preferences from us? From an instructor, how many students have like signed up for this course, and then it runs an optimizer, which can run for a few hours even, for like big schools, and it outputs, gives you a schedule for the school for the whole term, which is like tailored to all of the requirements, preferences that you had, like that you inputted into. And then we also pivoted into some other products that are kind of related. Events management, which is kind of like meetup.com, but for campuses. So given that we already know the like all the information regarding all the rooms at a campus, right? And also we know the calendars there, like when places are booked. Then we can also schedule like open meetings at a campus, like when there is, I don't know, some famous person that wants to speak at a campus, and it's like an open event, right? So this is what we have. And then we also have catalogs and curriculum management, which is just pages for to present what the school is offering, right? And also build that offer. And it also runs on Vue. So the main application is Vue.js 2.x with the composition API plugin on production, which works. That's nice. It was a big risk that we took, but we introduced it like granularly and to make sure it doesn't break any crucial features.
Yeah.
And it works pretty well. And the public websites, which are Next.js based, we usually, like for all of the schools, we only ship one application, and then based on the host from the request, when we are doing server-side rendering, we do white labeling, which is also pretty cool. So once you open the page, we are sending the host information to our main application, and then we are getting information like, hey, which school is it? And then we apply some weight labeling, we get the correct data, team, and so on, which is also using Tailwind. And then with CSS variables, it's like super easy to just reskin the whole page to look a bit different. So yeah, it's fun, like many fun challenges and exciting place to work. Not an advertisement.
Yeah. What you are using for the backend? For
Express, just with Mongo.
Oh, just.
And we have like our own architecture when it comes to like backend. It went through many changes, I'd say.
Yes. So all the like the schedule like or rooms comparison, it's done by Node.js.
Mostly when we are looking for conflicts and so on. So most of those algorithms are running on Node. But for the optimizer, so the piece that is
optimizing
the schedule, we are using a CIP C++ library running on some Lambda function.
Yeah.
Because it would otherwise like kill our server.
This was like what I am asking because I used to work in the like I would say same kind of company. We did also like this kind of schedules and courses for.
What didn't you do?
I did everything. Yeah. for Czech universities. So for Charles University and for this so.
What was the name of what is the name of the company?
The name of the company is Erudio. I think it's still, and they're using it's the SIS. It's the Student Information System. It's like no innovation here. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a big market, and apparently it's like quite old, but it's very hard to get in. So
yeah. That's like the when I was there. I mean, it's like ancient times. It's like I don't know 2010, 11. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was
when it comes to
it was built on PHP 4 and and Oracle servers. So and the servers were in the like under our roof. So it was like nothing like Amazon or something like that. So it was like everything, and I think it's still
different times.
Really. It's still there. I mean, they as I know, they moved to Symfony. I think
Mm-hmm.
which is better than PHP 4. I can imagine, but yeah, but they are still there,
Okay.
and I mean it's really hard to, as I understand in this, it's really hard to kick the company from this, because I mean
Oh yeah. The SAS systems, like, they are super big, usually super old
yeah
and super complicated.
yeah
And usually when a school signs up for an SAS, they will use it for like 10 years
yeah
or more, because it's just not worth of like the migration
yeah
costs. So yeah, talk about retention, right? So
yeah
yeah, but we are integrating with some major SIS systems in the US. But yeah, generally that's like the integrations department work. So I'm not really as that familiar when it comes to the integration
yeah
part.
yeah
But I've heard like sometimes it's just in case of some schools, they literally have to go get to like drive there and connect to a server which is in the basement of a school, like
yeah
Wow.
to integrate, to get the data and integrate with it,
yeah
because they are not having an API, which is and yeah, they need to get it somewhere somehow. So that's fun.
yeah.
Wow.
And do you still have time for your open source project with this?
Um, Mostly during the weekends.
Yeah.
But then yeah, I would also like to have some like free time, which is not in front of my computer.
Yeah.
But then yeah, sometimes during the week I can like squeeze an hour or two to work on something open source. But yeah, usually it's just the weekends. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, it, the biggest one, like the Validate or Vue multi-select, it's you still
mhm.
working on this, right? Mostly.
So with the multi-select, it's yeah, just me. There have been some people that were helping out, and but it's very hard to. Well, there isn't much happening. Like, I had this like huge motivation to push forward with the next version. Spent like 3 weekends tried working like every like Saturday and Sunday. Um, Almost completed the accessibility improvements, which like was full voice over support, where like with keyboard navigation and so, like, pretty fancy. But then yeah, roadblock and frustration is like, okay, let's put it on hold. I will hopefully get back to it like within like next few months. But and when it comes to Validate, there is a team. So when it comes to Validate itself, it's me and Dobromir, who are we are working on the code mostly. There's also Natalia from the core team, um, but she's been quite busy with the docs, as in the Vue docs, so she might have some more contributions like starting from now on.
Yeah.
And we also have Marina mostly,
Mm.
but she's mostly working on the Form Vue late library, which is a tool for well, anything forms, or well, schema generated forms. But the thing is that like, we developed a plugin system for it.
Mm.
So we also built an Validate plugin, and potentially once like Vuetify, Vueify are like ready for Vue 3, we should be able to get plugins for their libraries. So it should be very easy to like, create any type of forms, because like when it comes to components, we are not shipping any components for the form library. The only requirement for any library, any component, like input component that you have, is that it should accept value and emit an input. So basically, be vModel compatible, and then we can like bootstrap any form, any level, steep, and so like completely up to you.
Yeah.
And potentially integrate with like any validation provider. So we have the plugin for Validate for the work in progress version, but I think it should also be possible to integrate with vValidate and so on. So I think this solves the problem of like schema form generators, where they usually come with their own components. So if you have a project where you're already using something that comes with components, like form components, you're kind of forced to either ship two different versions of inputs, for example, which is probably not ideal, or you have to adapt to like use those other components, right? So here you should be able to, as long as they are compatible with the model and are not mutating the state, which I guess it's not as common anymore. You should be good to just combine it with any components that you have. So I'm pretty excited. Hopefully this will pick up once Vue 3 launches and once we have everything released, and people might start using it.
Yeah. Do you have any release plans for vValidate for Vue 3 version?
Sorry?
The release date for the vValidate for the Vue 3 version.
Oh, so generally the new version is dedicated for Vue 3. So hopefully it's gonna be done by once Vue 3 is officially released, like the stable version. We are mostly there. We just need to get all the tests there. There have been some work on like backwards compatibility. We still need to explore some stories like how it's gonna behave with the nested components in a V4 release, because we added a context aware validations. So if your component, like a nested component, has Vuelidate, like is using Vuelidate, the validation results will be accessible in an ancestor component. So you can have one form component and then any components that have some validations. And if any of those components has some like invalid state, the top level Vuelidate instance will also know that, hey, something nested is invalid. So it should make it a bit easier to just like validate completely standalone components that have their own validation logic, which I think was an issue with the current version, where you had to declare everything on top, like the whole rules and so on. So,
yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
So hopefully that's gonna work as planned, because we are removing the each helper. I'm not sure if you are familiar with it, because it was like introducing a lot of problems. So we are removing it in favor of like, hey, just create a nested component and let it have its own validations, and that's it.
Yep, perfect. Yep. And you are also the meetup organizer, right, in Poland? I mean, obviously, right now it's not doing good, right? So, but
yep.
But I just want to ask you if you can like, how is the community, Vue.js community in Poland, like in general?
Okay, so first, I am more of a coordinator, because usually the people like we are organizing meetups in different cities in Poland, and usually there is a local organizer, and we are just like sharing the Facebook group, the meetup website, the branding, and then like trying to get some like reaching out to the people, like marketing it and so on. So I'm personally not organizing any meetups myself, although I get a lot of credit, which like I want to make clear, like there are other people that are organizing specific meetups, and we are just like we are working more like a team, where we just try to coordinate all of those events together, and so like share speakers, repos, and so on and so on. So when it comes to the community, I think it's pretty, but it might be hard to compare, because some of the other meetups I've been like outside of Poland, they are usually like quite frequent, like every month. So I think the community there gets more like getting used to it, and they are like not coming to every meetup every time, because like that there's gonna be another meetup in a month, right? Whereas in Poland, because the meetup they don't happen that frequently. Like I think we had like 3 in Wrocław, 2 in Krakow, and I think 2 in Warsaw, and also 1 in Poznan and 1 in Katowice. So it's usually more like an unique event. So we are usually able to get like around 80 to 100 people come to the meetup. Well, the first time it happens, then usually on the second time, because we don't really tell like when's gonna be the next time. Like it's gonna be done when we decide to organize it again, right? So people usually come. Like there's a lot of people. So when I was at a meetup in New York, it was super fun. But then I think there was like 25 people only. But I think that's the thing. Like they are doing a meetup like every month, so it's not like special, like super special. Like hey, there is a Vue meetup happening, which wasn't been there, and it's like the first time that is happening in the city, right? When it comes to people itself, I think it's pretty good. Less questions probably. Less people try to interrupt or like ask questions during the meetup. Maybe people are just a bit shy. So I think like when you travel west, people get more open when it comes to asking questions, interrupting, and like just being more open about what they are thinking.
Yeah. I think it's more like the Eastern European Slavic style. Yeah. So yeah, we don't ask questions. It's we are afraid to ask questions.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know.
Not me, obviously, but
yeah, but that's all right. Like people usually come after the talk, and
yeah.
questions are like coming, and it's like so the meetup finishes like 9 p.m. and then you're staying. And it's like 11, and people are like, okay, let's we should probably get back like 2 hours of like answering, like just talking in a circle, which I think is one of my favorite parts of the
yeah.
Whereas the networking part and because it's more 2 ways communication, and I can learn something interesting like instead of like what I'm just speaking.
Yeah, awesome. Norman, you are sleeping.
No, I'm just looking down on my laptop, and it probably is a weird angle. No worries.
Do you have any questions? Because I'm.
You're out of questions. What happened? No worries. Actually, you asked a lot of questions that I also thought about already, especially about the Polish community interests me as well, because I knew that you are rather sparse with meetups and just rather have bigger events from time to time and so on. And I wondered if there's anything more regular by now, but it seems there's not. Yeah. Would you wish for anything regular, or is it good like this? What do you think are the people thinking about this?
Hard to say. I know personally that I wouldn't have the energy to go to all of those meetups always. I guess it depends on the content, like whether we can get enough people every month, for example, to present something interesting. Because we are trying to have like quite strict policy that like talks, they have to be Vue focused. They don't shouldn't be like marketing stuff. Like so, I guess in a bigger city, it might have been easier to pull it off, where like there's just so many people that are using Vue, and it's easier to like invite people in to speak. Whereas in like smaller, like in Poland, in some of the smaller cities, it's harder to just like keep the same level of like quality talks like every time we are doing something. So we usually try to first get some people to sign for like ideas that hey that they could like do a talk, and then once we announce we have like one or two extra spots for people that will submit their talks, but we already start with like, hey, we already have like one or two talks that we know they're gonna be pretty good. So I think one of the better events that we had didn't involve any talks at all. It was more like an after talk, like here. So we did a Q&A session, and it was after the Frontend Connect conference in Warsaw. So so there was me, Dobromir, Natalia, Thiago Alves, and some other people that were like quite known in the Vue community. And we figured like, hey, we can organize like an ad hoc meeting at one of the companies that like decided to sponsor the place the same day the conference ended. So yeah, and because we already had all of the speakers in one city, we figured like, hey, let's because it's kind of hard to deliver like two talks on the same day. So we got, let's just do an open like a QA session. Oh, also Gusto was there. So and it was super nice. We had so many good questions because I think like in this kind of like environment, it's like I'd say like Eastern European approach where they ask like tough questions.
So no questions
works.
for tough questions. Okay.
Yeah, so there was like plenty of like interesting discussions regarding like architecture and like approaches to different problems and so on and so on. So I think that was super fun, and I would wish to do it again. So I just need to get some people to Wrocław. So,
I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. You're invited, Jiří.
Awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god, I still don't know how to pronounce it. Jiří.
Yeah.
You should be able to at least.
Jiří. Yeah, Jiří.
Okay. He's always just saying yes, even if you say George. Because no one can pronounce this.
Except Czechs, of course, but.
Of course.
Yeah, sure. So, that would be nice. Yeah.
But we were still waiting for the pandemic to once we know it's actually safe. So there were some plans, I think, for June. Like we made some plans, like I think it was January. But yeah, we had to kind of scrap it because of what's been happening. But maybe like in September it's gonna be safe before the like next wave.
Before the next wave, let's just ride into the next wave and it's a nice event.
Yeah, like surfing on the waves. Yeah.
Yeah. Be the trendsetters, right? It all started with this meetup.
Yeah. Like we will have like branded hazmat suits and.
Whoa! Awesome. Yeah.
That's...
oh gosh.
Yeah. Okay. Back to maybe less Corona and more technical stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, we can still do online meetings, right? But
yeah.
But I think the problem with online meetings is that you can't really hear people laugh. I mean, if there is like an like you're like leading the discussion or like during a talk, there can be someone that is like there to like read the chat and then ask some questions and so on. Yeah. That's cool. But like usually the experience, I had I've been speaking at the Holy.js conference, which was online. It was fully like super professional, but there is the thing like I'm doing a joke and there is nothing. So like the speaking experience, like you're losing the most interesting part where you can like interact with the audience, right? So it's just
I agree.
Talking. So like, and especially live coding is getting like much harder because there is like nobody like, hey, there is a typo. Nope.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna do that for you. So yeah. So I'm not a big fan of like doing online talks. because I feel like it could have been just a recording, right? So, and
Yeah.
also like doing a live event has this additional of like adrenaline where I feel like the talks are getting better when then compared like when I try to record something. Like
Yeah.
that's never worked for me, sadly.
Yeah, that's
So how is the Berlin meetup? Like, are you thinking about like restoring the like on-site meetings or like still gonna do online?
Yeah. Thinking about it, yes, basically. But for our great wish, which might be just wishful thinking, actually, is September
yeah.
to look if we can come back.
Mhm.
But yeah, we really have to just see how things develop. But maybe, I mean, seriously, when I said that we could have an open air event, that might be actually a possibility. We could just be in
Open
a,
air, as in
yeah,
you mean? Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I wanted to suggest. Like possibly like just instead of like going to an office.
Hmm.
yeah, because as soon as you're in a closed room, you have all these additional rules and problems.
Yeah,
But open air, you can do much more. So we
that
could
is
just
true.
be in a like an open air cinema space, kind of. I actually know
Yeah,
one. Maybe have a look.
yeah. I think there are some like this in Wrocław too. So I think as long as we can get like a projector and some like mics, I guess this should be possible.
Yeah,
Unless there's like bad weather, right? But yeah, that's too bad. But other than that, yeah,
of
that
course.
could work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would
that's
be fun.
something we should explore. Yep.
Mm. And did you ever think about online meetings, meetups in your area?
Um, no, I don't think we did. I think that the topic kind of died for during the pandemic, like, and we still haven't like restored like thinking about like, hey, like we just like a few days ago we had this like, hey, maybe we should like think about like organizing something for September if everything goes well, but nothing like very specific.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, we just like let's put everything on hold until it's actually safe to do a meetup. But yeah, like
Yeah,
the open air idea, I think that's something that we could explore, especially since it's still warm, right?
yeah. I mean, if you
So
call this warm,
I
but
mean
yeah,
it's
it's kind
it's
of warm.
It's fine.
yeah, it's 21 degrees, so it's warm.
It's warm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, unless it's too warm, that's not gonna be good. But yeah, that's something
Yeah.
to think about.
Yeah. Definitely. Maybe we do a big open air, and I don't dare to pronounce the city name, but you know the
Wrocław,
one with
yeah.
W. Yes, exactly. I will do it wrong anyways. Uh, and I don't want to be politically incorrect and say Chrysler.
But that's I mean Breslau is also good. I mean, given that I was been watching like binge watching the whole 3 seasons of Dark, like my German got a bit better. So yeah,
Did you watch it in German?
yeah, of course.
yeah.
No, okay.
I
I
mean,
didn't even know that you speak German. You never did.
I well, speaking is probably like a long shot. Like I do speak some German,
Hmm.
but it's mostly I understand it pretty good. Like I get to understand the whole show. I did had like subtitles, but like
Hmm.
I didn't care about those that much. Um, but like when it comes to speaking, like the problem is just I don't really have that many changes to practice.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
of course.
I'm much better with understanding.
Hmm.
And yeah, if I were to speak for a while, then I should probably like switch to German. But otherwise, I would probably use English words like in the middle of the sentence.
Yeah, everyone does. No worries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
yeah,
like
yeah, but actually, I watched the Dark also like from the first season. I didn't like watch it like before, so
mhm.
I watched like the first 2 season and third I'm like in the half.
Okay.
And
Mm.
yeah,
So could you like the
but in
trigger?
English, like I don't know my German, I'm too lazy for it.
Well, I was first when I started watching it. I tried the English dubbing, but it was good. But the fact that there is like it's not perfectly synchronized.
Yeah. Because like German has like these long words for everything. So
Yes,
Maybe.
I was like, it's not right. So
yeah, I mean,
okay.
yeah. The dubbing for in English version, like it's not so like I mean, it's not good, but I mean, it's like standard dubbing. I mean, it's not nothing like really bad, but like not great, not terrible. It's like,
and also I think the German language like works very well with the dark explanations that like
I can
alles ist
imagine.
miteinander verbunden. So
Yeah, yeah,
it builds the atmosphere, I'd say. So
yeah.
it's like the old guy that is explaining some metaphysic stuff. So it
Yeah.
works perfectly. So I enjoyed it quite a lot in German, and especially since like then you can actually hear the actors and what they are
Yeah. I mean, like everything in
they're
German
acting.
sounds dark, so
Yeah.
it's like.
Ha! Oh, yeah. A very dark and sad country.
Okay, yeah, okay.
But is the third season, is it over already?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that the
Yeah.
third season is the
So
last
you
one.
watched all of it?
I'm not. I'm like on the 4th or 5th episode of first season.
Oh, sorry,
But
I just had a call,
Damien,
and I think
did
yeah,
you watch all of it already?
yep. I like the first two seasons
Yeah.
very much, and the third one, I was no spoilers, but I'd say it was a bit too much. Like maybe not enough. Well, all the answers, but some of the topics that were started, like they were kind of like cut, like became like not really important. So I think like they had to like wrap the whole story very quickly, and they also like the first half of the third season they are still introducing like another thing
Yeah.
where
That's.
so and I had
Yeah,
this
which
frustration, and this might be somehow of a spoiler because as we all know it's time traveling, right? And like determinism, like in unit tests.
Yeah.
So the problem with this series was that like everything was deterministic. So at some point I was it was meant to happen, and I was thinking like if they finish the whole thing like, well, this is what's been like meant to happen, then that would be the most frustrating show that I've seen because like apparently the protagonists they were not able to change anything because everything like repeated itself, right? So um but yeah, like yeah, I'm not saying anything about the ending. It was okay, but yeah, I'd say the first two seasons were definitely better than the last one.
Yeah.
But still a good show overall. Also, if you enjoy shows like this, then Devs on HBO Go is super good. It's from the creator of Ex Machina and Annihilation. I think Alex Garland,
that sounds good.
and it's a very good piece of science fiction.
Okay.
No spoilers, but it's like it's weird. It has those like weird music where it's just people breathing, which you can also see in Dark at some point.
Hmm.
Here in Dark. So yeah, it's really good, and it's also quite like suspenseful when it comes to like what is going on. And also the first season is the whole story, so there's no second season. So yeah, it's good. It's also quite dark. Um, and interesting from like a developer perspective because yeah, the show is called Devs, as in like actual devs. So yep.
Nice. I'll have a look. Yeah.
Okay.
I was really frustrated in the end with Dark. Actually, I didn't watch the third season at all because of my frustration with, let's say, the second half of the second season already.
Okay.
And they started explaining things and so on, but they always used. I try to not spoil out much, but
Mhm.
they use explanations that don't make sense. I mean, even if you introduce time travel, then you get all these paradox and
Mhm, mhm.
paradoxy, whatever. But they used they used wrong, and things like this. So I thought, okay, no, screw this. It started really
Yeah, so
nicely, but I'm cutting here. I'm not
yeah,
going on
I think
pushing. Yeah.
w- w- I think yeah, with the paradox thing, like I guess it makes sense that they weren't able to make any changes, like affect the what's been happening because of the paradox. Like if they changed something, they wouldn't be there
Yeah.
anymore, right? So, and I guess this all comes to like the
Yeah,
determinism,
exactly. And then they
whether
couldn't change it, and so on and so forth. Fair
yeah,
enough.
but it
Yeah.
was frustrating at some point because this was like the explanation for everything, like any weird thing that was
Um,
happening. Um,
but
but what I actually liked was that like most of the characters weren't good. It was just different shades of yeah of gray. So it was pretty
yeah,
interesting. Like
okay.
the how you perceived certain uh, actors, or like
Hmm.
whether they are good, they are bad, or like some they might be good but they are doing bad things, or uh,
Yeah.
reverse. Like, so yeah, but I think yeah, it went for a bit too long, I'd say, and at some point it was a bit repetitive. I mean that was the premise, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Just not
I
possible,
think
stuff like
I
this.
think it works, but only if you assume that time is not like linear and everything is happening at the same time. And at some point, once you get there, like your past and your future was already defined, so like you can be like there could be a mother that has a daughter, which is her mother. Yeah, this kind of relationship, which like if you assume like it's linear and you have to go from one point and then like you
Hmm.
have to go the full circle and then
Yeah.
it's gonna repeat with the like people or like overlapping each other. But if you assume that at some point it was just like executed the whole loop, and then I guess it's possible.
Hmm.
But it's so weird, and I agree. Like normally this wouldn't work, but
Yeah,
like I
exactly.
guess
Because you do
the
have
show
a
makes
you have to
some
introduce it somehow, right?
yeah, like
Anyhow.
the egg and chicken
yeah,
Yeah.
thing, right?
Hen and
So
egg,
yeah, I
I
think.
think. Yeah.
Sorry,
Hen and egg problem, I think, is what you
him and
say
egg.
in
Yeah,
English.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. So
yeah. So hopefully I didn't spoil anyone like this. Oh,
Oh,
no,
you spoiled
I guess like
everyone.
yeah, like after you said what you said, I guess like nobody cares about spoilers anymore. Like this just spoils the whole thing. Whoa,
maybe
well,
I will cut it and like
Yeah, maybe
oh,
just
is
make
it
it
good?
like a beep and some of it or something.
Oh yeah, like and like put a huge warning,
yeah,
like
yeah,
don't watch if you're watching Dark or you plan on watching Dark. That's major spoiler.
Well, just don't watch Dark. I mean,
Or just don't. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Don't watch Dark and watch Rick and Morty.
yeah, exactly.
It's just
You can't do anything
it's
wrong.
oh my god, yeah. I like it very much. I was actually. Do you have any like favorite episodes of Rick and Morty?
that's
Some,
that's tough question, I guess,
yeah,
because it's I think there are lots of good episodes, like
yeah.
mostly like the interdimensional TV's episodes are really awesome.
This is really nice. The
Yeah,
one with the toilet, with the toilet. I don't know how to call it.
yeah,
Yeah,
That is also really
that
nice.
was a good one. That was a
yeah,
good one.
Mm.
From the recent season, I very much enjoyed the Haste movie kind of thing.
yeah. Haste, yeah. That was
Like, son of a bitch, I'm in. Yeah.
yeah, that was
It's so
really
stupid, but that was pretty fun. Um, Maybe because I'm kind of fan of like the Haste movie ideas, like where they're like getting the crew and so on. So it was a nice spoke on that. But yeah, like also I think one of the last episodes with the train where they were like traveling and like something was like the story, like it was like a meta episode.
Yeah.
Where they
That
knew
was
there
really.
was in a, like a that was next level abstract when it comes to like storytelling.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I didn't watch the whole season yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a big spoiler. It wasn't a big spoiler.
No worries. Yeah.
Yeah, but the one with the toilet, yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. I think
I mean,
need to
the one
rewatch
with the
it.
president, the US, also pretty nice.
What
But
about
yeah,
the
there are,
show me what you got?
yeah. Oh yeah, this one is also really good actually.
Yeah.
This is really iconic also. Yeah.
Oh, and the one with the simulation. Oh, that is a good one. I think it was the either the start. I think the start of season 3, where they did the
Where they had him captured and he's
Yeah.
yeah, where it's like my man,
Yeah.
good,
yeah.
and like going into the into a tree. And what was the ad slogan that the jury came up with? Which
Ah,
oh yeah, that was good. That was good. Oh well, hopefully that was good. But I don't know, like maybe there were like less episodes in the last season, or maybe because it was like split into 2 parts. But like whenever I finished the Rick and Morty season, I was like, okay, a bit exhausted, but I get through it. And here was like, before I get into it, like, oh, it's done. Like that's the like last episode. It's like you could
Too bad.
have
Yeah.
like watch like 4 at a time, right? Like binge watch it. So and that's
It's pretty
that's a bit
exhausting.
sad.
I agree. Yeah. Um, okay, now that we are on TV series, Final Space opinions.
Sorry,
Final Space.
what's the name? I don't think I watched it.
yeah.
Kaido?
Me neither. Me neither.
I think you missed out. It's really good. It's like a very good mix of humor and depth.
What's the name again?
Final Space.
Final Space. Okay.
Yeah, you find it on Netflix definitely. I don't know.
Oh yeah. I see. Yeah, it's on. Never haven't
And there's
watched it.
a second season
Yeah.
now, and it's also really good.
Okay, is it like kind of in the like Rick and Morty style or?
It's a bit, yeah, but it's more storyline.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, but it's definitely a very strong humor here and there, but also a lot of really, really deep things happening there. You know, like there are moments where you really think, oh shit, this is so sad, you know? You don't have that so much in Rick and Morty, even though it's swinging sometimes with it, right?
Yep.
So, especially in the end of the first season, where things explained why he's actually doing this pop-up adoptive or what it was. But Final Space does this even a bit better, in my opinion. It's really good.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, gonna try it out. Like probably maybe this weekend.
Yeah, I tried to watch the devs, but I don't know. Maybe the first
It has a slow start.
first season was
It has
like,
a slow.
yeah. I mean,
But there's just one season.
yeah. Maybe I will give it a time and try it again because
Yeah, it doesn't explain a lot. Like so you're kind of like in the dark for a long time.
The circle closes.
Like, yeah, but I think there are some things that are kind of similar to Dark, but like no spoilers. Like I think it's really something that you shouldn't read the spoilers there, because yeah, that's gonna be like the thing. Like what are they doing is actually like quite interesting.
I'm intrigued, definitely.
What about games? If you are like about like entertainment, have you played Outer Wilds?
I have no time to play games, seriously. I have barely time for serious games.
Yeah, I'm like Outer Wilds. Like this is something I played like in March. So yeah, I'm still living through it, but I haven't finished it yet because like I ended up hitting a roadblock, I'd say, because the game also doesn't really tell you. I mean, the game tells you everything if you find all the clues and like connect all of those, because like it never tells you like go to a place like here, and like it doesn't show you like a quest and so on. So, and it also has a time, maybe not time travel, or maybe it's kind of like time travel thing to it. So yeah, we are.
Seems to be the topic today, huh? Time travel.
Yeah, that's a sticky topic. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As if we were in a time loop.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I hope there are no snakes involved.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, snake episode. Snake jazz.
Yes.
Yeah. From Rick and Morty, I just remember the snake episode.
Yes.
Like
Which one was it?
Where the snakes, there was plentiful of snakes,
yeah,
and then they discovered time travel.
yeah,
With
like
things
the
around happening.
Snake Terminator and like this
Mm.
Okay, yeah, I think it rings a bell, but I can't remember the whole story. But yeah, that was something like
Yeah,
Let's watch it again.
yeah. I started playing like it kind of feels like the DPD simulator, aka Death Stranding, the game.
oh you okay, yeah, with the being like a
Good, yeah.
delivery guy. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I started like 2 days ago because I mean it was
Is it good?
released on Steam like I think last week,
Is it good?
and it's interesting. I mean, it's kind of also pretty dark, I would say. And
Yeah, like babies in like
yeah,
cans,
yeah, that's and it's
water tanks.
yeah in water tanks, yeah, in your chest, and like yeah, it seems pretty interesting. I mean, I played like 2 hours maybe, like so
Okay.
it's nothing. So but it feels really good. I mean, it's might be one of the better games I played lately. I mean, I didn't much time to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, in the beginning of the pandemic, I just started play the Doom, the Doom 3, like this no Doom 3, it's the Doom like the re-edition, like or renewed the 2016 version, like
Okay.
and
Okay.
just like to release the stress. But
So
Oh,
my adventure with Doom ended up with me just like reading through the whole Wikipedia, as in like not Wikipedia, but the fandom wiki of
Yeah.
Doom, where I just read through all the like the story for all the games and how it all connected, and figure like, okay, that's.
I mean,
That's
it's not so
another
much
Doom for me.
like story. I mean, they're like this.
I know, but then I'm usually drawn to the backstory, so like that's what I do when I play games. I just like read through all of the everything, like backstory, like what's happening there, and then I don't have to play the game, which usually ends up being quicker than playing the actual game. So I don't have to waste that much time on gaming if I can just like spoil myself.
interesting
everything.
approach.
Yeah. I mean, I have to ask about, because I mean, you are Polish. Like, did you see the Witcher on Netflix?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. Obviously, it was different than the books.
Yeah.
Um,
In
it
some way,
was-
yes, yeah.
It was based on the actual books, and not. Sorry, I meant different than the game.
Yeah. Game is like extended, like the books. Yeah.
So, what I think could have been strange for people that haven't read the books is the time jumps
Yeah.
again.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like given that I knew the like the stories, like it was based on like for most of the episodes, then I was like, okay, that makes sense. I also like that they expanded some of the stories, like from Yennefer,
Yeah.
which wasn't
In the books, yeah, it was, yeah.
it wasn't in the books, which I think made sense to just like introduce the characters,
Yeah.
and give them like more screen time and like more backstory, rather than just like, okay, there pops like a
from nowhere. Yeah.
Sorcerers pops somewhere and like, hey, this is the big love of Geralt, right? Or
I think
that works.
Yeah, in the books there was like only like or maybe like one paragraph about their her history, and that was it, right? And they extended pretty nicely.
They stretched that paragraph quite a bit.
So I think they did it pretty nicely, and I'm looking forward to the next season where they can actually go with like a more linear story.
Yeah,
which should be hopefully good. I think like hopefully I kind of hope that like given that the budget was probably pretty big for The Witcher.
Yeah.
But given that it was quite a big of success, I hope that the second season have gotten like a bigger budget, so they could go even more like, well, I don't know whether it's like Game of Thrones scale, but I don't think they have to go in that direction, like bigger fights.
It's kind of sold like this, right? Like the new Game of Thrones. Although I didn't watch Game of Thrones, I have to admit. I'm one of the few people who didn't. But I also don't think that you have to be the new Game of Thrones to be something. I don't feel like
it's a different kind of story, right? Like I'd say it's more personal than like where Game of Thrones is like multiple characters and so on. No. I mean, the first season might not feel like this because there's a lot of like jumping in time and between different characters, right? Although the whole story of Witcher, like the books, is kind of like political. It's just like one of the racism and politics is like the main thing going on, and genocide and other.
I mean, actually, it's pretty dark also. Like really, nothing is like. It's not like the
dark.
It's not like the Lord of the Rings or something like that. Even like Lord of the Rings has kind of dark background in like World War II or something like that, but it still feels more like. I mean, the Witcher, at least like the books, feels more like raw. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, even in the movie you see it actually pretty well already. I didn't read the books and I didn't play the game, so I don't have too much context. But even in the movies, I find you see very well this kind of world that they built there, which is very realistic if you ask me, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the books, at least, the Witcher itself is just like he might be the main character, but he also has like the least effect on the story. I mean, maybe not least, but like he's just like the person that goes through and like tries to do something, but like the important actors, like all the politics, the main character, like bad characters, they are like driving the story, and he's just like pushing through it, and like it's from his perspective usually, but like he's just like a small piece, and like the most important is probably Ciri. Or Siri.
Hey Siri.
I don't want to say Siri because my phone will wake up in a moment. It tends to wake up every now and then when I'm not seeing Siri.
Sorry, I had to look for my cat. So.
That's. I'm really looking forward for the next season. For me, it was kind of like, I would say like it was like above average. Like it wasn't like really like, I mean, outstanding or like really like 10 to 10 or 100% TV show, but it was good. It was a really good promise for the next seasons. I mean, everything was kind of okay. I mean, except the Nilfgaard armor, which looks like really bad.
Too fancy.
Yeah.
What I think they did very well is the fighting choreography. Like especially I think it was the first episode or the.
Yeah, I think it was the first one. In the city, right?
What was her name?
Yeah.
The witch, the one that was searched by this mage guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot her name as well, but I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like very nice action. It kind of reminded me of because if I remember correctly, it was in like one take, like a lot of the filming. So it looks like it actually requires more of like skills when it comes to the actors. Whereas like if there is like a Liam Neeson movie, or like it's usually just like cut it into like where he's like showing it's gonna hit, and then it's just like person being hit.
Yeah.
There is like no in between, and everything's like cut into short like fragments. And so in The Witcher, because it was like at least like an extensive period, it was fragment was like in one take. It reminded me of Daredevil. Maybe you watched it. So there were some like very good fighting scenes where, which were also like I guess like a few minutes in one take. It's like wow, that takes so much effort to do properly.
Yeah, that was one of the big premises actually of Daredevil, that they did the fighting scenes in one take, like in single takes. Yeah, it was really, really good.
I've heard that they might like still do a new episode, a season of Daredevil, like because there was some like petitions to Disney to like revive the show. So hopefully that's gonna work, because I think the actor like was very good. So hopefully that's gonna work. Like one of my favorite Marvel shows, definitely.
Oh, we made a big circle, and now we got to Marvel already. Awesome. Actually, I wanted to ask you about all the libraries and stuff that you're doing, but whatever. We can talk about movies.
I mean, is anyone actually like seeing whether there is like because it's already live, right?
Yeah.
So there might be people watching, right? So
there are people watching, like 6 people.
Yeah, 6. Okay, I mean, one of them is me. One of them
is me, so it's 4 people probably.
Yeah.
4 people. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, 4 people. If you are boring.
Okay. Well, have you seen like whether they like most people quit once we moved from like code to?
I mean, the top was 11 people or something without us too, I think. Yeah. I don't know if you remember the top numbers, but I think 13 was the highest number I saw.
I think it was.
So we might have lost a film.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we can start talking about Bitcoin and lost the rest of them.
Yes, that would be a possibility. It's like what we call the Rausschmeißer Musik in German, like what they play in the disco in the end to get everyone out.
Okay.
No, let's not do it.
I guess Jiří could like spoil another show.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, what I can spoil? Lastly, I watched there's also on the Netflix the comedy from what's the name? What's the name?
Okay, in the meantime, Damian, how many hours per week do you spend on the libraries, on like keeping things up to date and looking through progress and so on? That was actually my question before we started movie stuff.
Depends. Like if the question is like simple, then I try to answer it like right away once I get like an email that hey, someone commented. But I also had to disable some of the notifications because there was just too much of those. If there's something is more complicated, or like in a thread that I know it's there, it's like a feature request and people are just complaining, then I just ignore it because it's kind of frustrating. Like I know I want to implement it, and like it doesn't really help me. So I know it's there. It's like okay, that's all. I think at least Vue multi-select is working so I guess there are things that could be added, could be made better, but it works. So I'm not really planning any new release when it comes to the actual version, like fixes maybe 1 or 2 just to ship it. But there is some it needs some more testing to see whether the master is fully functional with the pull requests that were merged. Yeah, this is kind of like me being afraid to release something because this might introduce more problems than they were before. When it comes to Validate, there are some things that we shipped a new release, I think, a few months ago, which had some like minor bug fixes, but all like the bigger changes will be in the new major version. So when it comes to the hours, I'd say it's usually like 2 to 3 hours a week, which is like the minimal. And I don't really have the time, and this is something like collected from like 20 minutes today, 15 minutes the other day, 2 hours or 1 hour during the weekend. And if I have actually like scheduled some time to do some work, then it's like usually 5 to 6 hours during the weekend. So on top of like doing some small question and answers during the week. So as in like answering issues or something. People find different ways to connect with me and ask questions. So emails, Twitter messages, Discord. It's
Discord and Instagram are my biggest.
People ask you about coding on Instagram. Okay.
Yes, and I don't know why. You know, they write you a private message on Instagram asking you for tips how to start JavaScript or how to find a job in this and that and stuff like this. But completely, they never saw you before. They never talked to you before. Just like, okay, I'm the source for such a question. Sure.
I mean, obviously you are a big Instagram influencer, so
Yeah, I mean, me with my 50,000 followers. Well, maybe a few less.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I think it's a bit over 1,000 at least, so it's not too bad. But it's
that's
not exactly an influencer.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean, I stopped using Instagram completely because it's.
No, I need it for my fame. Sorry. 1,722.
That's nice. I mean, yeah. I guess it's harder when, depending on the content that you publish. I don't know whether I follow you, so. Oops. That's oops.
Okay, now that we are advertising here, it's Coffee and Code.
Okay. Let me
shameless plug.
Let me see if I can
see
Instagram Coffee and Code.
Yeah.
Now I have to find the tab here. So for everyone,
it says coder, coffee fan, photographer, right?
Yeah, it's probably that one. I have yet another caffeinated developer page. What I'm writing.
Code and that's wrong. It's code underscore and underscore code.
Yeah, I posted it in. Oh yeah, you don't see the live stream, right? Okay, wait.
Yeah.
I can put it in our chat here as well, of course. Come on, just invite everyone, just share it and tell everyone and. Well,
okay, that's different.
Yeah.
Oh, I will be so famous.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
I think it's time for some light. The camera shuts off when it's too dark.
Okay, where is the dog?
Oh, it is here and there, definitely. Yeah. No, it's not me who's famous. It's actually her.
But it's actually quite weird because like I'm a bit disappointed because I see that there's a lot of like your cat is very often.
Yeah, but not my dog.
On the pictures, but not that much of your dog, and I think that's not right.
Yeah,
okay, fair enough. I agree. The thing is that cats are much easier in this regard because they are just sitting next to your laptop and staring at you. So taking a picture of this is so much easier than having your laptop somewhere and your dog lying under the couch and sleeping. But I will try, especially for you as my new VIP follower. I will.
Yeah, I'm just
try
like
to get my dog.
liking all of your dog pictures, right? So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So great. if you have any questions, so follow Norman.
Yeah, and ask me about JavaScript.
About not only about JavaScript, like about everything, about life.
Everything works.
Oh, actually, today we had a funny. So, just as a bit of background, I started a new project at Ecosia, and so we are all still in the onboarding process because first week or now the second week. And today we had a call with some people, and we talked about general product stuff. And at some point, we drifted into the code and opinions about coding languages and so on topic. And so everyone was saying like one of them was saying like he hates JavaScript. He's testing it even like really, really badly. And he still has a look at it because he has to, and it makes, there's a black spot and so on. And then it went on and like this. And then really in the end, I said something like, yeah, the plot twist, I don't like JavaScript as much either. Everyone was like, what? Because everyone always thinks that I'm this huge JavaScript front-end stuff fan. But I like JavaScript only because it does Vue.js. Yeah. That is nice. But so if I could write a framework that is, for example, using WebAssembly, like in Rust or something, that would work and feel like Vue.js, I would totally do it. But I'm not a fan of JavaScript as a language, to be honest.
Yeah. So which reminds me, I started playing with the Dino, which is like really nice. I wrote like the small the library right now for like downloading and zipping the content.
Oh yeah, true. Now I remember. And I actually wanted to write a Rust thingy.
The Deno is using Rust in the right, so it's
Deno is written in Rust.
Yeah, so it's quite fast. I mean, I tried to write it. Also wrote it in a Node.js, but it didn't feel so fast. I mean, it was, and I mean, in Deno it was kind of a little bit easier to write it. I mean, maybe I don't know if it was because of TypeScript or maybe better because I had some issues with like async calls in between between the libraries. So, but
I think Deno is already supporting these top level async calls and stuff like this. And
yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And
but doesn't Node also has it like from like version I don't know.
Maybe the newest ones. We are now at Node 18 or something. Check.
No, I mean, I think latest one is 14.
14.5, not 18,
Yeah.
So maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like it. It's really.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of these long import URLs, although I see the idea and I totally get it, and I think it's a good idea. But I find it very adventurous to write something that is actually really cool, but breaks this huge ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, it's because you don't need to have like node modules, right? Because you everything imported through URL to the code. So it's interesting. I think it's an interesting approach, and
it's an interesting approach, but you will find that URLs very quickly.
I mean, there is like it's still pretty limited. You have like because you when you're starting the Deno, it's you can specifically specify rights what they can access, like the rights writing, reading files.
Yeah, and this is really good.
Yeah, which
and
is
by default you can't do anything. No?
Yeah. By default, you need to you can do anything. You cannot access the files and like read files if you cannot access the network if you don't allow it. So it's really nice. But I mean, for lots of libraries, you need to use the unstable flag. So I mean, there are lots of like really unstable libraries, and like maybe like the basic ones, the basic libraries which you have already in Node, or other libraries like Golang or something like that. So you still, it's missing some libraries, but I mean the basic
it's
one.
very early.
Basic ones are there, like the FS and or other like fetch or something like that. So it's good. Yeah. I like it, and I maybe I will try to explore it more later. It's how it's working. So
Yeah, we need something like roll up for Dino so that we can somehow port Vue.js to Dino, and then slowly. Oh, that would be a huge deal, I think.
Have you tried Vita or Vita?
V2, is that the plugin for VS Code? Do you mean that? No.
No.
Vita as in the new project started by Evan. So the like a dev server which is based on like kind of similar, I think, like ES Build, I think.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
I can remember.
I didn't try it, but it looks really good.
Yeah.
It is crazy fast. Like literally, well, maybe not. Like feels instant, and apparently it doesn't really matter the size of your project, because like the complexity of like resolving is always like your the file that has changed, and like and there are like dependencies, but it's like the browser that like gets it and like asks the server for the right files. So like even if your project grows, like the start is like super quick, and like whenever you make any changes, like I've been refreshing the browser just to make sure it changed, because like once you move like from one screen to another, it's already there.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, did it already update?
Yeah, awesome. That's perfect.
It's super fun. Although kind of, I guess, kind of similar as in with Dino, where like you can't really run everything with it yet, because like some of the
you need Vue 3, right? I think.
Yeah, it uses Vue 3, but it can also work with React, for example.
Oh, okay.
But generally, the requirement is to use the like for packages to export an ES module, because it's
okay. Of
then
course.
for like production, it uses rollup to output something that can be used everywhere. But generally for development, it's using ES modules. And also, so you're kind of like forced to make sure that like those are like all the packages that you use are using are exposing an ES module. But I think there is also a way to, I think Snowpack was doing it. So kind of similar idea, or maybe a broader thing, because I think it gives you some other features on top of that. Allows you to migrate the like CommonJS packages to to ES module compatible versions. So then you can probably use anything that you want. And no, that's something like if I were to start a new project with Vue 3, I would use Vita, right? I don't know. Like, does anyone know French?
Can you share the link? I know Vita White exactly Vite.js. Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, Vite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it read
VITE? I would say Vite.
Vite, yeah.
Yeah, it's just github.com/Vite.js.
Yeah.
Vite.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely want to try it, because I'm currently I have this side project that I'm working on since a few months now, and I ported it to Vue 3 already in the meantime. Then the beta came out, because this whole Vue class components thing that I used was just horrible. I mean, Yeah, and it also broke when I updated TypeScript, and then everything didn't work anymore. And I just like, okay, fuck it, I just ported Preview 3, and it was good. It was really good because I'm really happy by now. But I think the next step should just, now that I'm porting everything anyways, just port it over to Vue. If it's even nicer. Especially because if it's using rollup, it should also produce much smaller packages, because Webpack is still producing rather big packages. Although I wrote my own Webpack configuration for Vue 3, with lots of cool, nifty little features that I actually like. So yeah, maybe I'm shedding it here for that one, but that's okay.
You should write about it and send me, and I can share it on the newsletter.
Yeah, good idea, actually.
Good idea.
Think about
it. If you're quick, maybe you can get on today's issue.
Oh, how quick do I have to be? Wait, maybe I wrote about it already.
I guess it depends when we're gonna finish this call. So like, depending when I have the time to.
Oh, okay. Wait. I have to see. Maybe I actually wrote about it. I think I started writing about it, huh? No, I didn't.
I mean.
Okay, maybe I thought about writing about it.
Okay.
But I have it as a repository, so I can.
Okay, if you have the repository, I guess we can like, and if it's somehow like ready to use, like if there are some explanation like what it does, why it does it, and so on. I guess that could be interesting.
So yeah, there's a good README in it, and it is giving you a good head start because I also checked Lighthouse.
Oh wow, 100%. Is it like a blank page?
No, it's a simple. There's even a bit more than in the usual Vue CLI start page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I guess that looks good, and like, knowing you, I guess it makes sense. So I would just shortly review it, but yeah.
Yeah, that was my basis thingy when I started reporting my application, and then I thought, that looks actually useful, so I just separated it into a repository.
Have you worked with the composition API already?
Yes, pretty extensively actually. I really love it. It's so useful. It's incredible. I didn't think that I find so many useful moments, but you know what I mean. So useful things where I can use it. Incredible. My first opinion when I saw it, thought that might be useful for very, very specific tasks. But now that I actually have Vue 3 at hand, I use it more and more even. So yeah, I also mix and match. It's really nice to just throw a setup and function in. So I'm also waiting really hard for the. Is it maybe implemented in the LC already? This proposal for a setup script tag.
Yeah. That might be very nice for those components where you just care about the setup and
yeah, exactly. And it saves you so much boilerplate and so on. It's really cool.
Yep. What I've noticed is that whenever I make some changes and I feel like, okay, this because we are making some changes to a fragment of the application, we can somehow refactor it to use the composition API because it makes sense in that case. And we end up actually removing most of Vuex code, which turns out to be not really necessary with the composition API, especially since there's a very simple trick, which I don't think is as documented anywhere. I don't think people are writing about it. Maybe because it's obvious, maybe not. I don't know. So what you can do instead of declaring the variable like a ref inside the setup function, if you just want to make it global, you just declare it outside, and then just set it up in your composition function, and then it every composition every time you use this composition API, it can use this global variable. So it's kind of like a global store or global.
This is actually what I did in this repository. It has like a very simple store implementation is too much said, seriously, but it does exactly
it's
that
like
as
so
a store.
simple, but it makes so much sense, especially since like it's quite easy to just like share this, and like if you need if you have a component that needs like normally you would have this like an action or mutation in your like nested component that is accessing this in the store, and here you just like, okay, like let's use this use something function, take this one method that we want to change the scope, and that's it. But also, like, I think it's gonna make it super easy to introduce things like where you want to like work on a behalf on like a different or in case of Coursedog, like on a behalf on of a different school. So if you would like to, like as an administrator, you would like to see, I guess, like probably a bit risky. I think Facebook had a problem with it, where you could see like a page as a different user, like impersonating. But I think like changing, like managing the scopes for the project, like should be very easy once you have the once you're using composition API to like create those like modules where like you can just like change it here, and it doesn't have to be a global change like in the store, but everything that is say nested inside will work with this value, like this setting. So I might be hard. It might be hard to explain. So like generally, like I think it's so much better to use the composition view. So now that I started also like using it for a few months, I hardly ever write old like using the old syntax. It's just so much nicer to especially since like you write something and you figure out, okay, those elements together, they make sense. Let's just move them to a new function, like a composition function.
Exactly.
Yep. And then the component itself is like usually some like modules, like some specific functionality, and then maybe some functions that are like specific to this component, and they are not extracted, and that's it. So
yeah, I totally agree. And that's also, but I think you have to really work with it for a bit, and then you will really get the feeling.
Yep.
It might be a bit abstract from the outside.
I'm still wondering how the like what will be the best practices, because it's still kind of like a Wild West when it comes to like how to use it. So I guess what we are doing, probably like half of it might not be as good as we are hoping. And there are
I'm sure.
Things like how to like maybe with TypeScript it's better. Because like what are what are the arguments that we expect? Should there be refs or just like plain values, and so on and so on?
Yeah, that is really a bit confusing for now, also for me. I'm using TypeScript, but I actually turned off most of the hinting blah blah stuff because it's annoying me. So I'm a very simplistic person in programming. So I am using a shell editor and stuff like this. So all the cool features I just turn off before they annoy me too much.
Oh, and I just said I see, and Siri just wake up.
So what happened? Sorry.
I just said I see, and this waked up Siri. That's weird.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry.
I think I know what you mean. Like I've never been able to migrate away from Atom towards like VS Code. Like everyone seems.
Yeah, everyone is using VS Code these days, and then there's
but for me,
tiny Sublime group left. I think.
Yeah, I think for me it's just so too noisy. I remember a conversation on Twitter where there was a guy that said like every time he feels like working with VS Code, it was like, hold on, like this annoying friend that always like tries to like suggest like stuff to you, and it's like, hold on, I know what I'm doing, right? And this is how I feel with VS Code. Like when I type this dot something, like I know that like what are the
exactly.
elements like methods on a Vue component, right? But what I actually need is this name that I declared or a variable somewhere like 2 lines above it. Like I just need
Exactly.
auto completion for this thing. I
So
don't
if
need.
you're in Vim, for example, or similar editors,
Mhm.
they by default have auto completion for everything that is somehow open already. So in your current file, for example.
Yeah, that's what Atom does it.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly. And
perfect.
since I use this stupid language server thing, I have to somehow force it to not use the language server suggestion because it forgets about all the good stuff like auto completion in the same file.
Yeah, so I think Atom is using Turn.js. So it usually like does some kind of like analysis of, I guess, all the open files.
Yeah.
So if I'm working on a feature, I usually have all of those files open. Like they might be hidden in a tab, but they are open. And I only get the suggestions of like the method in a different file. And it's just perfect. Like it's just perfect.
Nice.
Uh,
I thought I'm alone.
Nope. I'm actually very happy that there is someone else that is not using VS Code. I hear Jiří isn't saying anything.
Yeah, I'm using VS Code.
No.
I try to. I mean, I think last week, couple days, I tried to use the WebStorm from JetBrains, but
I don't think that's getting better in this direction.
yeah. It's it's the thing is they have like really like specialized versions for some languages or some like, but for me, I mean, if I want to switch to I don't know, I want to write something in Ruby or Rails, I need to use like this. They have also like for like Ruby version.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can of course write it in the same WebStorm, like, but I mean,
It doesn't get the all the fancy extensions.
yeah. So I mean, VS Code for me, it's like the necessary evil, I guess.
I mean, I tried it, but it's I even like obviously I had to add the Atom shortcuts, but I still feel like Atom is just the way like I just feel much more productive. And since I'm the slowest part in this combination, like editor and me and my brain, so like I don't care like, hey, but Atom is slower than VS Code. Like, but first of all, I'm not opening like files that have like 20,000 lines of code. Although Atom is handling those now, so that's good. If you accidentally click on the log file, for example.
Yeah.
But then like I don't need like it doesn't have to be faster. Like it's fast enough where I feel like comfortable and I don't feel like I'm being hindered by the editor. Like
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and as long as that's the case, then screw performance, right? I mean, then it's fine.
Yep.
I have the unfortunate, I was a Vim user for many years, and
Sorry?
Vim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or VIXM, whatever you call it, VI improve.
Mm-hmm.
So I was using that for a long time. So actually, I could, in theory, switch to VS Code and just have Vim bindings. You find Vim bindings everywhere.
Vim mode, yeah.
Yeah, but I actually switched maybe 1 or 2 years ago to an editor called Cocoon, which is also a modal editor just like Vim, but it works the other way around. So all the bindings are switched more or less. So you first make the selection because it's selection based and not command based. So you make first the selection, you have also multiple cursors and everything, and then you tell it what to do, but in a very Vim-like fashion. But you will not find any Cocoon bindings everywhere because no one knows it. It's like the 15 users that it has.
Like you're removing the hard part from Vim and just keep the
Exactly. It's much more, not only more convenient, but it's also more accessible in my opinion because you don't have to think about like, I will now do the command and then destroy everything because my selection was wrong, right?
Yep.
So, but I can make the selection first and then do the command. It's much nicer in my opinion.
Okay, that's good. I won't promise I will try it. Like maybe I will, but like Atom is probably here to stay as long as they develop it. Let's see.
For me,
But they don't have the certificate.
No certificate? What?
Unsecure website.
What?
Yeah. What are you saying?
Maybe they don't have a... Let's try this one. Because maybe they don't have a auto redirect to HTTPS.
which is still bad.
This is still bad, but it's at least they have a certificate that works.
Yep. No redirect. Yep.
I should tell them.
Yeah.
Oh, and you got this like Microsoft Word kind of guy that like icon that suggests you things.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm not using that one though. What I'm using is Dilbot.
Okay.
So you can have different like kind of ASCII art creatures there, and I use Dilbot from the Dilbot comics now.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's cool. Okay. I guess that's it for me. Thank you for inviting me again.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for watching all those many people.
Four people left. So.
And 2 of them are us.
Yeah, so it's like 2 brave ones.
It was super fun.
Thanks for being the core.
Yeah, I mean it's happening like quite often that the host ending the the talk, because like last time like also Summit ended it and like maybe I can be here like forever basically, but yeah, I mean
maybe we should just time box it a bit. You know, like at least
like a live stream of me typing on my keyboard finishing the newsletter. I guess that's possible, but I don't think that's gonna be interesting for anyone else.
Maybe. I mean, we have 2 more people. We can try to get them out of the stream as well. So, I shouldn't say such things really.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks. Let's do it in 2 weeks, and like, or maybe I can just do a recording of me.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
No, not this again.
I can do recording me watching the Bitcoin price.
I mean, that could even work.
Yeah,
you know, all these videos showing people just doing nothing.
Oh. Yeah. I mean. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, Damian, for.
Thank you. And thank you for organizing it. That's
Hopefully we will see each other live. I mean live, not online, like in real life.
In real life, yeah. Maybe on some nice open air thingy, Vue.js thingy.
Or maybe next time in VR we can try. No.
If you send me a VR set, I could try.
I mean, if this like rest of 2 people are like maybe from Sony or Steam, or they can send us.
Yeah, we could totally have some of those nice sets. I mean, to try, of course.
If someone wants to send us some stuff, I mean, just contact us and we will appreciate it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, thanks, Damian, and have a good night.
Have a good night. Bye.